right value. So how do we do this? How do we find the weights? How do we find the right weights for our neural network? So for this, yeah. So any guesses how we change this? Okay, so this is a simple meme. So what does it show? It's like what do you infer from it? Okay, yeah. So like moving on forward. So the next topic is basically backward propagation. We talked about making those randomly initialized weights as like right weights. So back propagation is nothing but fine tuning the weights of neural network based on the error rate obtained in the iteration. So we got some output which and since that output was way deviated from the real output, we had some error. So how do we solve this whole thing is basically using backpropagation. So what it is, proper tuning of weights allows us to reduce the error rates. Yeah, that's true, right? We initialized random weights, so we got some output that was wrong, obviously. So what happens, as the word suggests, back propagation, that is propagating in the backward direction. So it is basically forward. You guys remember what forward propagation was? It was giving inputs to this, giving input to our neural network, finding the output, then we got a loss. So to minimize that loss, what we are doing, we are backward propagating. So travel back to the output layer from the hidden layer to adjust the weights such that our error is decreased. So let us understand back propagation in little more depth. Let's go to our Jamboard. Okay, if we have some questions, we'll take it in the last. Okay, so yeah, back propagation. So let us consider an example, simple example. So we have a network. Yeah. Okay, so we have some simple perceptron where we are giving X inputs. We have some Y weight, some B bias. Then what we do, we calculate Z from this equation, which is weight times X plus the bias. Yeah, the T here is basically transposed because basically we don't really solve equations one by one, and since we have lots of weights and biases, we convert all those inputs in vectors. So the transpose is basically when we compute all those weights and when we put all these weights in matrices. So to make this equation right, we add a transpose. But for now, just understand this, that we have some X and some Y, and and we have some weights bias, we have some input weight biases, so we won't really need this T. Then yeah, so we calculated Z, then we fed this Z to an activation function. In this case it's sigma, and then this I from we got some predicted output. This is our predicted output A, and then from that A we calculated loss. So this is our loss function, which takes in the predicted output, and this is the real output that it should have given. So there are a lot of loss functions. Basically, for our understanding, what the loss function that we are going to use here is basically the output, predicted output minus the expected output square. This is going to be our loss. So yeah, this is our loss. So let us consider this as our loss function. Again, a recap of what it is. It is basically, let's just forget this half also. We'll look into the details and the formulas afterwards, but just for our understanding, let us take this loss function as the predicted minus the target value square. So that is basically loss. Now what we do in backward propagation is that we differentiate this loss with respect to dA, then we differentiate it with respect to dz, dw and db, with respect to first the output, then with respect to Z, which we call Z, then with respect to weights and biases. So basically, what was our aim in the earlier? We started backpropagation, telling that backpropagation is basically the way of changing these weights which we had randomly initialized, right? So, and we talked about that this is our loss, or suppose, yeah, this is our loss, and we wanted to minimize this loss, right? And the way we minimize any function was basically differentiating it, right? So that's why we differentiate the loss with respect to A first, then with respect to Z, then with respect to W and V. So this is a bit of calculus. So since it's a two-dimensional, it's a three-dimensional function. Like the output of this would be a plane or something. We don't directly differentiate it as we used to do. We A and Y. So partial differentiation, I guess everyone knows it. So we differentiate it partially with respect to A, and we represent this whole thing dl dou L, or a lot of people say daba L by daba A as dA. Let us take this as daba dA. Then the differentiation of loss with respect to Z. And now this is basically the chain rule of calculus, because we saw that loss is basically a function of A and Z. Loss was basically a function of A and Z, and we are differentiating with A and Y. Basically, loss is basically a function of A and Y, and we are differentiating it with some another variable Z. So we can write it using the chain rule as this. So that's how we get daba L by daba Z. We denote this term as dz. This is our dz. We denoted daba L by daba A as dA. Similarly, differentiation of loss function with respect to weight is nothing but dw, and differentiating of weights with respect to bias is dB. Okay, so now we differentiated the loss function with respect to weights, biases, and Z. So why did we not differentiate with respect to X? Like first we differentiated with respect to A, then Z, then with respect to B and W. Why did we not differentiate with respect to dx also? Any guesses? Okay, so one thing is that here in our neural network, our x is our input. So input is something we can't really change, right? All we can change here is weights and biases in our neural network. Weights will always be constant value, and we are randomly initializing some weights. So that's why we are differentiating with respect to weights and biases and not with respect to x, because we don't really need that. X is going to be a constant value, and what all we can change is nothing but weights and biases. So that's why we don't really differentiate with respect to x, and that's why there is no dx. Then after differentiating, what we do is that we repeatedly do this. We change update the weights through according to this equation. The new weight is what it becomes the old weight minus some learning rate. So this is some constant which we call learning rate. So we won't get into the details of what learning rate is. Let us just think that this alpha is some constant. So what we do is that we update the weight, saying that old weight minus some constant times the differentiation is going to be the new weights. Similarly, for biases, we do this, and we repeat this process until we get we repeat this whole process until we get the values of W and B such that our loss function is minimized, because our whole aim was to minimize the loss function, and once the loss function gets minimized, we get our perfect, not really perfect. We get the values of W and B such that the loss function gets minimalized, and those are the weights which will help our model to get a proper output. So basically this all was backward propagation. Now moving on, as I said, loss function we use. So there are a lot types of loss function. So this table tells you, like for regression, we have mean square error, we have mean absolute error, mean bias error. For classification type of examples, we use cross entropy loss, hinge loss. So there are a lot of losses. So what you guys can do is that you can just explore all these losses once the session is over. We won't go into the details of each and every loss. Yeah, so now the very important point, why did we initialize the weights randomly? Like why just we not initialize the weights to 0? Any guesses why did we not initialize the weights to 0? Because you guys were putting a lot of questions like why are we having a constant weights and biases, and why we were randomly initializing. Dead node, not slightly near to the, it's not gonna update anymore. Yeah, you are near. Okay, yeah, you don't know, don't worry. As our great Andrew Venji said, don't worry if you don't know. Okay, so yeah, we'll see why did we not just initialize the weights to 0, weights and biases to 0, and why we had to put some random value to it. So moving on to the Jamboard, let us consider another simple neural network. So we have weights x1, x2. We have a two neuron hidden layer, and then we have output A3. So let us consider this simple example, and let us now initialize the weights to 0, and let's see what happens. So let us not go into these details. So yeah, so what did we do? We initialized this weight to 0, this weight to 0, this weight to 0, and this weight to 0. Okay. Then upon solving, I guess the equations are visible. What did we get for A1? The output of A1 was basically sigma times sum of this, right? It will be this sigma or any activation function. Let us not say sigma specifically. So what will happen is that when we initialize weights to 0, the equation will be 0 times some input plus 0 times another input plus some bias b. What this neuron would calculate would again be same, some g function, some activation function times this, and what our A3 would do. Now for A3, the inputs is A1 and A2, right? So it would be again 0 times, the weights are initialized to 0. So it would be 0 times A1 plus 0 times A2 plus some bias B3. And obviously this would be given to some initial, some activation function. So basically what happens is that when you initialize some weights to 0, the output so basically what will happen is that when we will back propagate, if we have some weights, if we have all the weights to 0, and when we will back propagate, what would happen is that the weights will update in a similar way. Okay, so what was the aim of back propagation was basically updating the weights. And now just see if this is applicable to everything. Okay, not just if we initialize the weights to 0, if we initialize weights to some constant, obviously this value, let us consider w minus, this is going to be dw. Don't mind the drawing. So the equation was basically this. When we will update the weights, all those weights would be updated in the same manner, because this term is same for all of it. This term is also same for all of it. So suppose our weights were 5, 5, 5, 5. We have 4 weights. After updating, we got dw as some value 4. So 5 minus 4 would give us another weight as 1. This weight would again be 1. This weight would also again be 1. And this weight will also be 1. So what is happening is that every time you will iterate, it will again give some a constant weight, which would be some k, and all these weights would be similar. And what is happening is that it's kind of like a loop, right? We initialize the weights to some constant value. All of these here we are initializing to 0. Suppose we have initialized some constant value, and then the weights are getting updated to again some constant value. So if all the weights are initialized to constant value, then we will be stuck in a loop where the weights are getting updated and again they are becoming a constant value. Again we back propagate, again we get a constant value. So weights will get updated in a constant manner. That is, first they will be 5, then they'll get 1. If so for example, if they get 5, then there will be 1, then again k. So this loop will keep on happening, and we wouldn't get an output, or we wouldn't get w such that our cost function will be minimum. So that's why we basically initialize the weights to some random value and not some constant value. So I hope you get an intuition of all of this. Yeah, moving on. So yeah, what if weights are initialized to 0, then the weights would be repeatedly get updated to some constant value, and this loop will keep on happening ever and ever. And yeah, initially what we try to do is that initially weights and biases are initialized to some smaller values. That is why. And why does that happen is that suppose the function that we are using is this function. This is sigmoid function, which ranges from 0 to 1. And suppose we initialize weight to some really high value. So z, which we calculate, would give us some really high value. And when this z is passed to the sigmoid function, it will act as an input. And so this z will be given as an input to this. Suppose this is given to a sigmoid function, then what the output of sigmoid function will be, again a high value. It would be some value here. And when we differentiate in back propagation, what happens is that we find differentiate, right? And basically it is basically finding the slope of this function. And when we do this, if we initialize the weights to a really high value, what happens is that here you can see that the rate of change of slope is really small, right? It's basically like this. It's such small. And if our value is here, we are at this point in the slope. If we keep, then what would happen is that we would need to iterate a lot of times till we get here. That is that our model will learn really slow if we keep the inputs as high or keep the inputs as really low. So what we generally try is that we keep the we initialize weights to some values that are near to 0, 1, 2, 3, so 0, 1, kind of in this range, so that what happens is that when our model back propagates, it learns quickly and it initializes those weights faster, and so we get an output faster. So that's why we initialize the weights to some smaller random values. Okay, we saw this. We saw that why weights and biases are initialized to smaller values. Yeah, another thing, when your especially when your neural networks randomly initiate weights don't work, what we will have to do is we must unlearn what we have learned. Kind of PJ, but yeah, it's good if you really know, if you have really understood up till now what happened. So let's get a final big recap of what all we have learned up till now. So first, consider this as our neural network. Don't go on the number 784. What we did was we gave some weight, we gave some input to this neural network. See, this part, when this part was the forward propagation. So basically we gave some input to the neural network. We forward propagated, we got some answer, and we then realized that we had an error, big error. So to minimize this error, we back propagated, and we keep on doing this until we get our favorable outcome. So this is basically all that happens in a neural network. And yeah, now the most important takeaway of this session, the most important of this session is that this is a neural network. Now it makes mistakes and it learns from them. So all you know what you have to be.